My weird side, though. It is. Huh. Okay, so the lights are not back on, but we're going to keep rolling with the review. Sorry it's a little bit dark. Again, I'll take a picture of the board. Don't freak out. I'm coming over here to the lighter side of the room, darker side. Enjoy. No napping. No napping. We start to talk about, we mentioned the Krebs cycle. When it comes over here. What was that? Are they telling us to evacuate? No? Okay. All right. So we talk about the Cori cycle over here. Hey, if it is slow glycolysis and you're having that one last burst of glycogen go through a magic thing to get a little bit more oomph, what is that magic thing I'm talking about? The Cori cycle, but what does it go through? It shuttles through the mitochondria to make that happen. Again, excellent. Again, take some time and review all of that stuff on the board. If y'all remember, we spent probably 2 weeks talking about those phases of bioenergetics. The best notes that you have are already the ones that you have rocking and rolling. Those are critical to what we have going on. Yes?
Do we need to know about the Krebs cycle?
As detailed as it is in here?
Yes.
Not as detailed as it is here. We talked about the Krebs cycle over here in the aerobic training phase, right here, as it's trying to deplete glycogen and trying to capture fat to use onto. But unless you have that magic, remembers you want to, bonus point maybe. Who remembers what that enzyme is? Lipase. That enzyme called lipase is what allows you to release the grease and actually allow fat to be utilized as an energy source. So just know that's a great thing for you to know in your vault of things. We talk about OBLA. What is your OBLA? Onset blood lactate accumulation. And we want that to come as quick as possible, right? No. What do we want to do? Delay our OBLA. So if I can train my athlete to delay OBLA, what have I really done for that athlete? They can do what?
Go further.
They can go further. They can go faster. They can jump higher. They can go at a higher intensity, and they can buffer off all of those hydrogen ions that are really the culprit when it comes to lactate threshold. So review your notes on all of that stuff. You have it. Just brush it off. You got it, you got it, you got it. Okay? Hey, do we ever want to use protein or muscle as an energy source? No. What's that fancy smancy favorite McKay word when we do that? Gluconeogenesis. We don't want that to ever happen. It sort of is a natural protection mechanism for our body if we need it as a last case resort to use muscle as energy. But we all know that we want to be using that muscle for movement and not as energy. Hey, what do you think happens whenever we are in a situation? It's a tricky McKay phenomenon that I've talked to y'all about. Highly scientific. What happens if we're using muscle as energy? Rhabdomyolysis. We talked about that, but even go McKay-er. What are you getting? Skinny fat. Remember how we talk about the process of being skinny and fat at the same time? If you are using the muscle as a fuel source, the fat is just going to stay. So you're going to be getting smaller but fatter, or staying the same level of fat at the same time. But the whole thing with rhabdomyolysis, yes, Nat, is definitely one of those things that starts to happen. Jumping through. Hey, when we talk about specificity of workouts, to be terrific, you must be specific. Hey, to be terrific, you must be specific. To be terrific, you must be specific. Hey, don't study for this test while you're studying for your chemistry test. Study for this test. To be terrific, you must be specific. Hey, if I'm going to use interval training with work to rest ratios, would an interval workout with work to rest ratios be great for my type 2 athlete? Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Here's a question. Would interval training be awesome for my type 1 athlete? Yes. Now, interval training is work to rest ratios. You need to make that work to rest ratio plan based on, if you're working with a high jumper, their work to rest intervals need to be in the work to rest phase associated with phosphagen athletes, because it's not going to work any other way. Remember, train a high jumper like a high jumper. That's what you have to remember, metabolic specificity, because that's what the body will respond to whatever you ask it to. Now, let's talk about this thing called combination training. Combination training is using aerobic and anaerobic mechanisms within the exact same workout. Is that going to be fabulous for my type 1 athlete? Yes, because that way my type 1 athlete, I may be working with a distance runner, and we may do a 5-minute race pace run. And then as far as doing some other intervals, I really may have them do that. And then when they get to a specific thing, I would have it set up where they were doing 5 or 6 power cleans. So they were here and then here, but I would be using aerobic and anaerobic mechanisms in the exact same workout. Now let's flip that coin. Do I need to be training my anaerobic athlete like an aerobic athlete? No. What am I asking them to do? Get slower. We're asking their type 2 fibers to become less efficient and effective at doing their job. Train the body. Train the body, and it will respond. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody looking through there, anything else that you remember? Interval training, combination training, HIIT training. I love talking about HIIT training. We mentioned it in class. There's a million different ways that you can jack with HIIT training. Those bullets are listed on page, that's 80. Or 60, sorry. That's 60 in the right-hand column about ways that you can manipulate HIIT training for the most efficient and effective program for your athletes. Also, another cool thing on page 60 is that's where your ratios are actually listed as far as how much recovery time you should prescribe per athlete. Remember, those are based on ratios. You will be doing some ratio work, so bring your math brain. You got this. Okay? That's sort of the summation of chapter 3. We're going to take a quick 2-second break. We're going to do chapter 4 and hormones.